Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you for the kind introduction. He gave it just like I wrote it. Seriously, I thank you all for coming out here and celebrating with us today, because we've got a lot to talk about and a lot to be thankful for and to celebrate. You all may recall back in 2012 when the University of Kentucky Wildcats won that national NCAA basketball championship. I know you recall it. I do too, because I was up there on that stage with them, and boy, you talk about an exciting night. Well, you might also recall that after that, Coach Calipari took that trophy and went all over this state to share that trophy with all of the fans and all of the supporters that had helped to bring that team across the finish line and make it successful. Well, I'm taking a page out of Coach Calipari's playbook, because in the very competitive world of economic development, Kentucky just won its own national championship. We just won this 2014 Governor's Cup. Now, let me tell you a little bit about this cup. It's awarded every year by Site Selection magazine. That is an internationally known economic development publication based in Atlanta. And every year they award this cup to the state that tops the nation in large-scale economic development. I wanted to bring this cup here to Glasgow and Barron County and these surrounding areas here because you helped us win it. And you didn't help us win it by just being cheerleaders. You helped us win it because you've been in the trenches with us. You've been working hard with us to create new jobs, to expand existing business, and to bring new business into this community. You all working together have made these communities in this area the vibrant places they are and the places where people want to come and locate and have a great quality of life and put their business here. You've done that by making sure that the infrastructure, the roads, the utilities are in good shape, by making your neighborhoods and your communities inviting, by making your schools top-notch, and you've got some top-notch schools here, and by making your workforce the highly skilled, trained, educated workforce that it has to be if you're going to attract jobs to your community. Companies are choosing to come to Kentucky. Companies are choosing to come to Glasgow and Barron County and these surrounding counties because they like what they see. They like what they find when they come here. I've gone all over this world to attract business to Kentucky. I've visited them in their home offices, and so many of them are in communities just like Glasgow and Barron County. And when they come here and they see this area, they feel at home because it's very much like the community that they come from. Now, every year, Site Selection magazine ranks every state in the entire nation and all of its communities. And they do that by counting the number of projects that involve a capital investment of at least $1 million, creates 20 or more jobs, or adds at least 20,000 square feet of new floor space. And then they rate every state per capita. What makes this award so meaningful is how the decisions are made, because, folks, this isn't a popularity contest. This isn't just a couple of people sitting down with their own opinions and deciding who wins. This isn't a measure of potential. You know, you got a great community and things will happen here if you just work hard enough and long enough. What this is awarded for is actual development, actual things that have already happened. It answers two questions. Is the state attracting jobs and creating new business? And are you being successful in large-scale economic development? And I'm very proud to say on behalf of all of us that for Kentucky, the answer to those questions is a resounding yes. Yes, we have been, yes, we are, and yes, we're going to continue. We are seeing more economic development per capita in Kentucky than in any single state in the whole United States. Now, isn't that something? That is something. Let me tell you why. Because just last year in 2014, Kentucky announced more than 350 new industry location and expansion projects. Those 350 projects involved $3.7 billion with a B, $3.7 billion of new business investment. And as those projects come to fruition, we're talking about 15,000 new jobs for Kentuckians. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the most business investment in a single year in the Commonwealth of Kentucky since we started keeping those figures about 30 years ago. Now, that's the good news about the Commonwealth as a whole, but there's more good news. Because in addition, 14 local regions in Kentucky won awards from Site Selection magazine. And guess what? This region including Glasgow and the surrounding areas, were among those top places in the country in the micropolitan list. Last year alone, Barron and Metcalfe counties announced 3 new and expansion projects worth almost $17 million in new investment. And as those companies follow through on their plans, they stand to create over 100 new jobs. That was just last year. Since January of 2008, you've announced 25 new and expansion projects that stand to create almost 850 new jobs and almost $94 million in new investment. Ladies and gentlemen, you all ought to be very proud of what you've done and what you're doing, and I want you to give yourself a round of applause for that success. Thank you. Now, this Governor's Cup is just one measurement of the economic momentum that's going on in the Commonwealth right now. In fact, our economic activity is so vibrant that last summer the Federal Reserve officially declared that Kentucky had more than recovered all of its losses from the Great Recession that we all went through in 2008 and 9 and part of 10. Furthermore, during that recession, our unemployment rate got up to almost 11%. Last month, it's 5% and dropping every single month. We ought to be proud of that because our people are getting back to work. Our average wages in this state have gone up more than $10,000 since 2001. And a very bright spot for the future of this Commonwealth are exports. You know, when you think about creating jobs, most of us think about attracting a new company to town or getting one of our existing businesses to expand and hire more people. Those are 2 good ways you create jobs, but there's another way. It is by selling your goods into new markets. And we have been doing just that. And every time a company locates a new market and sells more goods, guess what? They have to hire more people to make those goods because they need more of them to sell. Last year, we set a record in exports of Kentucky companies outside of Kentucky and around the world of $27.5 billion. Now, that was an all-time high. That was the 4th straight year that we have had a record in exports. Let me give you a couple of examples just to kind of bring home what this really means. You know, back during the recession, folks' discretionary income sort of disappeared. Well, we had a houseboat company over on Lake Cumberland that had been making luxury houseboats. Well, that market was drying up, and they were getting ready to go out of business. Through our export initiative, we put that company in touch with a businessman from India. He was doing business in Dubai in the United Arab Emirates. A year later, 2 years ago, I went on a trade mission to Dubai, and I had breakfast in Dubai Harbor on a houseboat made in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. They are now importing houseboats all over the world from this company right here. Another good example is down in western Kentucky, you all may have heard that the Asian carp have sort of invaded the waters down at Kentucky Lake, Lake Barkley, and they eat up their huge fish, and they eat up a lot of the plant food that other fish need to survive. And it was hurting our fishing industry. We have now, working with two startup companies, created two companies in western Kentucky who are paying our fishermen to catch Asian carp. They're fast freezing them, and they're shipping them to Asia for food. So we're solving two problems. One, we're getting rid of a species that we don't need, and two, we're feeding people in other parts of the world. That's what exporting can be about. And that's what each one of our companies is looking more and more to do. And these are